You said Effie and John Warren and Kitty and Skylar Warren.
Yeah, we walk home from school, and Norma and I got thirsty when we come by there. We'd go in and visit with Skylar Warren's wife, up there and stuff like that. She always had time for us. I mean, she took time for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And once in a while, when the Nebraska farmer would come, she'd take us in and read the song "The Lazy Farmer" to us.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen those? Do you know what those are?
The Nebraska Farmer
The
magazine?
songs of the Lazy Farmer?
No. Mm-mm. I haven't seen them.
So Dad said she used to read them to her.
See, they read it to us.
To these kids. There was a little short story. So I got online on whatever, eBay or something. And how many did we get?
Oh.
They sent me, I don't know, I bought 12, 15, 20 of them. And they're just little blips, kind of like a little cartoon animated thing. And it was about the farmer who,
Mindy and
would catch hell, I think, from his wife a little bit, the lazy farmer thing. They're really fun. You should bring them up and let you read them. They're cool.
Yeah.
But he said, give him a drink of water, give him a cookie or something. Because Warrens were about halfway home from the school.
Oh, okay.
And so they just, would get wore out about that time.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay.
So your school was the farmers within what, a 4-mile area? You could easily walk to school and back.
It was a short 2 miles.
Short 2 miles.
School, yeah.
Okay.
But it's still a long way. So
yeah.
Kids with short legs.
yeah.
What did you do in the winter?
I think we were taking pretty much.
I was wondering. Yeah.
But you were dressed warm back then, gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever remember going shopping into maybe that big city of Omaha and got clothes, bib overalls or whatever? But yeah. But no, it's just all that.
Yeah, Penny's always had a good waiting room there. You could watch people go by.
Yeah. No,
yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah. So you're just now when you look down that road that you used to travel on.
Oh yeah.
It's just amazing to see all the progress that's coming and the people. It's just crazy stuff that So I wondered, like Larry was asking where you went to buy your machinery or service it. What do you think is the biggest change that when you've gone into farming, as far as you could plant what you wanted, couldn't you, even back then, way early?
For the most part, yeah, you could. Now, Dad, when he first moved out there, we had a kind of a cockapoo farm. You know what I mean? Anyway, he planted a lot of wheat and oats so that he could keep the cockapoos from going to seed.
Oh.
And he went through the drought years with wheat and stuff. But they raised a crop of wheat and oats, but they couldn't raise any corn.
Good.
He says that's what got him through the dry years, the drought years. So.
Dad did say one year they dug a silo.
Yeah. Well, that was we were totaled out. That was.
But then they cut the stems for silage. They had no corn.
Custards and Wilmses. One of them had the silage cutter, and the other had the silage shocker, or the shocks. And so we got that year. Everything went in the silo. There was no crop there, so that I remember.
Yeah, like feeding. I mean, it sounds simple, but you had to have feed for the chickens and the cow. I mean, the horses and the cattle. They all pigs,
Yeah.
That you just. Did you ever do anything like when you separated the milk? You had the cream, and then you had that skim or whatever it was, and you maybe fed something to the pigs from that.
Oh yeah, you could, I suppose. For if you're selling whole milk, you could put whole milk. But we did have a separator, so to speak. It was one of them tank ones with windows on the side.
Yes, we got one back here.
You have?
Yes,
really?
yes.
Oh,
Yes.
the barn, yeah.
From-
you waited to
Came
see
from
the-
Roy Posh.
Yes.
Yeah, see as it would separate,
Yeah,
yeah. Oh, the
yeah,
barn.
yeah. We got it from Mary and Posh. It was they found it in the barn before they tore it
Yeah,
down up
yeah.
there
Oh, yeah.
on Roths. I think lived there at
Oh,
one
yeah.
time. And she says, "We found this old separator. Do you want it?" And then when I went to go get it, I thought, "This isn't the separator I remember."
You don't remember you
That-
remember the one with the crank on
Yes,
it?
yes, yes, yeah. And so we
Yeah.
talked to the little kids about that
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
and stuff. So that, yeah.
And it worked, I mean.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
worked out.
So, but yeah, no.
Tell me about your hogs. Did you have like really special breed of hogs that you raised?
Oh,
The
not
Chester
really.
Chester Whites is what I was reading in the story.
And the Tomlinson was the
With
Chester
Chester
Whites,
White.
but we had Hampshires, didn't we?
Well, yeah, we had, I don't know what else, I can't remember. Back in vocational ag, we had to have a project at school. One year I was gonna have sheep, I had sheep, well, I didn't do that again. Anyway, Frederick Keel had, Berkshire, I don't know what it was, but anyway, I got a bred sow from him, you know.
Oh,
Well, I waited and she wasn't bred, so I was out of the hog business that quick.
yeah,
That
yeah,
quick?
Yeah, yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah. So was Mr. McWright your ag
Yeah,
teacher
yeah,
at that time?
yeah.
And anybody after him that you knew? That
No,
he was it?
I think we quit school at the same time.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, because Mr. McWright,
Yeah.
had the first. Did you belong to FFA? The Future Farmers?
Yeah, no, just vocational ag. And,
You just took vocational
shop
ag as
deal.
a and shop there.
Shop deal.
Yeah.
That's where I learned to weld.
Hmm.
Now since I had a pacemaker, they took me off welding now.
Oh.
And he's really not happy about it either. Every time we go back, he asks, "Are you sure it would be a problem?" And they're like, "Yeah, Lloyd, just turn that over to somebody else."
But you like to mend your machinery,
Oh, yeah.
and if your dad had that one, you probably wouldn't of all kinds of things to build, yourself. Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah.
They did an article about fixing it yourself so you could stay ahead. And
Yeah.
but Dad said that Mr. McWright, the
Yes.
ag teacher, and Grandpa went to a sale together,
Yeah,
and they bought a motor. They each bought motors.
Wisconsin, I don't know how many horse or more, pretty good sized one anyway, but,
And Grandpa did what with his?
well, he put a transmission on it and a stumper rod so we could run the well.
Sure.
Even when there was no
Pump
wind.
jack with
Sure,
no wind,
yeah.
Yeah.
But then Mr. McWright,
He made a card crusher out of his, so anyway, but I don't know I don't remember what the reasoning was, but they both got a motor bought anyway, so, yeah.
but they did have a hired man for a while. Or how many years did you have?
Early years, yeah, that's Olson, yeah. Well, yeah, you couldn't hardly farm 160 acres without a hired man, that was
Yeah.
almost impossible.
Especially with all the manual labor that
Well,
you
that
kind of
was
had to
the
do.
reason,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's only so many hours. I mean, you did work from sun up till sundown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And after.
And after. Yeah. But I mean, when the light's gone, yeah. But yeah, you're just, yeah. And I mean, it's a 24/7 day a week job
Yeah, it's,
to be, but it was so rewarding, wasn't it?
when everything turned out good.
Yeah.
The dry years when it went to pot,
Yeah.
you salvaged what you could for silage, and that was about all you could do with it at
Was-
that time. So,
Was that the 50s, early 50s? Those were dry years, weren't they?
Yeah, we had a couple of bouts of dry years, yeah.
Is that when you,
30s were
the worst?
goody.
Yeah.
And then, we had 54, 55, and 56.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I went to work 3 winters there.
Yeah.
Yeah, to keep the farm going.
Yeah, right.
You had to take an outside job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was 3 back to back. Not total out, but you could as well call it that. I mean, it wasn't much there to it.
Yeah.
When did you get married to Fran?
1950.
50.
1950?
Yeah.
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 And she was from,
Well, Benson is where she went to school. Yeah.
Yeah. So, where do you meet Mom?
Dutch Hall.
Oh, Dutch Hall, at a dance.
Okay. At a dance, yeah.
Yeah.
Mom was 19 when they got married, so
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and Dad's 2 years older. So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a long
Her
time
maiden
ago.
name was
Weiss.
Weiss, yeah.
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 from
And
she was born in Washington.
Nebraska area. Yeah,
Mhm.
Washington County.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a Ferdinand Weiss.
Ferdinand?
Yeah, Ferdinand Weiss. But I didn't know if it was any relation. But
I don't know.
Because I talked to your wife Fran one time, and I just said, well, my husband has an uncle named Ferdinand Weiss that lived in Washington County, and I don't know if she ever, But when we went on vacation one time, it's kind of like we're doing this, but we went to Colorado, and there was a relative of Fran's who ran a like a nursery or a
It was her brother.
landscaping. Oh, that was her brother.
Uncle Russ.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was
Yeah.
Fran's brother out there. A big company. I mean, he had a big.
Yeah, he had.
And
yeah.
One of Ron's uncles says that's got to be Weiss from, Washington County, and I'm going, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Ron was his
Yeah.
name?
Russ.
Russ.
Russell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was the
well,
only boy out of there was 5 kids, 4 girls, and Uncle Russ.
what about your grandpa's name? The Weiss.
William. It was Bill and Frida, or William and Frida Weiss,
Okay.
and they were from, Washington County, and I think Grandpa ended up retiring. Grandpa Weiss retired from Purina, didn't he?
Yeah.
And they
Well,
lived.
Another strange deal. Long before this, Bill Weiss, he had a sale, and Dad wound up bought his elevator. That's the first we had an elevator. He bought a John Deere with the trucks under it, with the 4 wheels, under. And we didn't know it until on the side of the elevator they wrote their names and the number of loads that they did. And Fran knew all the names. They were neighbors up there. So,
Wow.
kind of a strange situation,
Sure.
But
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
What were the other tractors that you had? You said you got the second one. You didn't say what kind it was.
that was now WC too. same
Another
thing,
one. Did you do Alice all the way through, or did you have different brands
No,
of
we got a
tractors?
little of everything after a while, but we had mounted equipment to fit the Alice and whatnot, and stuff. So we couldn't do it through all the war years, but promptly after the war we could buy it. That was the first thing we got, was our second tractor. So
Yeah. Were you worried about going to war?
not too much while I was in school. But after I graduated, I got my notice to report for physical. I got my notice to report for physical on the day we got married.
Really? Okay.
So
The Korean War was
that's where I would
imminent.
have been if it had.
Yeah. Did you get an exemption for farming?
Yeah, I don't know what I got an exemption for, but I think that because I was married, I wound up with a whole stack of cards, different classifications, 2A, 2, 3 something, and I think as we had kids and we got married, and then it finally went down.
But is that the leather that says he doesn't get reclassified?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one that says he doesn't get reclassified because he had another family or had more kids or something,
Yes,
second kid.
another one, yeah.
But he said he got, married, then reclassified, and then.
Yeah. No, but because the war, that made, I mean, everybody got a little closer every
Oh, yeah.
time
Oh, yeah.
during those
Yeah,
times that
yeah.
it was just,
Yeah, and then all the scrap drives and stuff.
Yes.
Went on. We did that at school too. We got gathered, farmed iron and stuff.
right. Do you remember when the war ended, like in May of 1945? Do you
Yeah.
remember the celebrations? The
Oh, yeah.
VE Day and those kinds
Yeah,
of things?
yeah, they were big
Yeah.
celebrations and stuff.
Yeah.
But they were,
Well, he said he remembers, where was it that they were campaigning election and giving kids pins and buttons that was so cool, or,
well, you know where the bowling alley was, that was, what were they called? They had these corn picking contests, for the hand pickers.
Mm-hmm.
And I figured out, how old was I?
oh, damn.
7, 8 years old, I suppose. A bunch of us kids, and then they were handing out these stickers, buttons for campaign deals at the head of the election and stuff. Landon, I think, was against
Alf Landon?
Roosevelt. Yeah. That, whatever year that was. It would have been that, so. But anyway, all the kids was running around with these campaign stickers.
Yeah, I remember little
Yeah,
metal
little
buttons
yeah,
that
little
had a
little
picture of
buttons
a candidate on it
Yeah,
and
yeah.
their name, and
Yeah.
you could put it on your lapel.
Yeah, all the kids was running around with buttons on. So anyway.
Do you remember, like, was your family of Democrats or Republicans? Do you remember any political?
For the most part, I guess. Well, that's another little story. Walt Kellett, they were neighbors on the north side of us. They had their mailbox by our mailbox. Well, he would come over and get the mail every day. He'd have to walk across the field there and stuff. He'd usually come up to the house there and I don't have coffee or whatnot and argue with Dad. Well, he was a Republican, and Dad would be, he was from the Democrat side of it. They'd argue back, and he was hard of hearing. He'd say, "What?"
Are you sure he was hard of hearing?
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah. And he'd always grab a handful of matches when he came to.
No. But somebody was always seemed like they would be welcome at your house
Oh yeah.
to come on in and have coffee,
Oh, yeah.
to visit,
Oh, yeah.
and
Yeah.
those kinds of things. Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah, there's,
yeah. No matter what your political,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
yeah. Oh, but
I have been amazed at how hostile they got this year. I mean, you don't usually see that, do you, up to that extent?
this is the worst I've ever seen.
It is the worst I've ever seen,
Well,
too.
but I'm not,
Yeah.
I don't, what'd you ever think of Harry Truman?
He turned out pretty good
Yeah.
after all.
Yeah, because, like, you wouldn't have remembered, like, when Franklin Delano Roosevelt came and visited the Sumnick farm.
Yes, I do remember that.
You do remember
Yeah,
that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have been, this would have been the Landon one when we got all the stickers and stuff. That would have been the second after, the second chance that we was up for election.
Oh, the second time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would have been 7, 8 years old there. I don't
Okay.
know what it was, something like that.
But yeah.
Were you there?
What?
Were you there? Did you go there to see him?
No, I didn't get to
FDR?
see him, but
No?
no, I remember that.
Yeah?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
It was a big deal.
Huh?
It was a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
Ah.
Did you remember, like, the Winterburn name?
That's the one of them drowned that they said
Okay.
that deal on. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, because I remember Walt Winterburn, he talked about even later in life when well, it wasn't later in life, but when he was working for the state yards, they had to paint all the wooden things along the road, the barriers,
Oh,
to
yeah.
look like we were really up to date and really, yeah, that's what Walt told me. You know,
really?
he said
No, I
that,
didn't hear
and he
that
said
one.
he, you know, how he came out from Omaha and went down to the Sumnick place and all
Yeah.
that stuff. What's really neat is that we've got newspapers that tell
Yeah,
all
yeah,
about
yeah.
his visit, and then the Sumnicks have got a book that it shows his whole visit here.
Oh, yeah.
Franklin Delano Roosevelt in the big Sumnick farm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Did you guys, when you were talking about being in a one-room schoolhouse, did you play other one-room schoolhouses for games?
No.
You
no,
didn't?
No.
You didn't go and play ball or
I tell you,
softball or?
That's one thing about a one-room schoolhouse in 8 grades. By the time you were from first, second grade, you've learned most of what all the upper grades have learned already.
You did. You were listening and
We were ahead
yeah.
of the game.
Yeah, and it soaked right in. Yeah, and that had to be, yeah. No, it's just really, yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
No, but yeah, no, it's a.
I know I have a question. Seed corn did not come in until probably after you started your
Oh, yeah,
farming.
yeah, it was all
How did you?
Open pollinated, yeah.
Yeah, how did you handle that to
Well, the
keep
first-
your seed corn
The first
for the
I
next
know, my
year?
Uncle Art, he lived down by Offutt Air Base down there, and he bought some Crow's seed corn, I think, and we watched that. It looked pretty good. It turned out, but anyway, that's the first I know of seed corn of that.
How did you decide what seeds to save from one year to the next?
Well, when you're picking by hand,
Yeah.
you've got a little ledge out there with a deal on it. You throw one here and one there. By the time a few days of picking, why you had pretty much corn already, and it's sorted off. The nice, pretty ears
That's
and stuff. Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
What about soybeans? How did you decide on soybeans?
We started about 1938, I think.
Really, that early?
The first time we had a combine, so we could do that sort of thing. And I think it was the old Lincoln bean. They were a smaller bean, but they got fairly tall and stuff. That's the first I remember beans that we planted. Yeah, way back when.
Did you have a seed sorter? That
Mill?
yeah, for the soybeans, so you'd only get the bigger beans
Yeah,
to
yeah,
plant the
Yeah,
next
yeah,
year,
yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah.
We did that for quite a few years. We got the Clark and the Wayne, and I don't know what all of them were. There were some of them. Each one had something plus for it and something minus for them. And once in a while, you get some beans that would shatter easily.
Yeah.
He didn't like that either, so we tried to avoid those.
Yeah.
We fan beans.
Yeah, and then we found our own seed beans.
Do you still have them? See,
Oh, it's still there. We haven't used it in quite a long
no,
time.
but we used to, at nighttime, we'd go out, turn the light on in the corn crib, and we'd fan beans. And we'd hold the bags, the burlap bags,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the twine to tie them, and
Well, I did seed beans. Some people out of Kansas wanted some Clark beans, and they'd come up. I found out 30, 40 bushel or whatever they needed.
Yeah.
And sell them to them. I think probably a buck over market. It wasn't much, but it was
Well,
something
yeah.
for my time. And
Yeah. Yeah, something for your income.
yeah, yeah.
So
You guys,
that
yeah.
I'm sure that was true of all of your vegetables. You had to keep the seeds from everything to replant.
Yep. Yeah. You know,
It's a trick.
Yeah.
It's
Now,
a
do you,
trick.
do you ever like Golden Harvest over here, Rob Seed?
yeah.
Were they ever? I mean, they started early.
Oh yeah, many years. Yeah. Went down and we decalcified corn. It was not the primary one would come up and we follow up where they already decalcified. Go down and pick the tassels that they didn't get.
Oh,
So I
okay.
worked down there for a few days. So,
You did.
doing that. So yeah, that's a long time ago too. Everything's a long time ago.
Yeah.
I bet you were walking. I bet you were walking through the fields too. They
Oh,
weren't.
yeah.
They
Oh,
weren't
yeah.
get like
No,
today
no
where they
riding.
ride.
No riding.
No riding. No. No.
Well, did you bring your grain that you didn't use for either seed or feed? Like, did you bring it here to Elkhorn Feed and Grain? Or
No, usually went to, well, I think back then about Lincoln was,
really?
Lincoln?
yeah, you'd head around there. I think most of the beans went there.
Mm. Were beans very I mean,
Oh, it took a while for them to take hold, but you had the equipment to
yeah.
harvest them and stuff. You can't shock beans.
No,
That
no.
will work, so anyway.
Yeah. Because, I mean, I just don't remember beans as a kid. We always saw cornfields, alfalfa
yeah.
fields, that type of stuff, or wheat or oats.
Yeah.
Yeah,
know,
and Milo
yeah.
once in a while.
Well, yeah, then after the dry years, they started planting some Milo, so we had something for hog feed anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, like I say, everything's a long time ago. Just everything comes to mind,
You see something, it reminds you of something you did as a kid?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's really,
Yeah. But, yeah, no, but.
it's,
So if you had what is the biggest change that's not just necessarily in farming, but just in the world in general, that you just can't believe today that we're doing that we didn't do ever before?
well, the first thing that's happened to us that hadn't happened before, the schools come in eminent domain is
Yes.
for
Mm-hmm.
the schools they're building out there. We got the one they're just about finishing. Well, I don't know if it's finished yet, but it's pretty well going.
Yeah, the one that'll be that.
Big, yeah.
Iron Bluffs.
Iron Bluffs,
And it
yeah.
said it would be opening the August
Yeah,
of this
this
year,
Crazy.
2025.
Yeah,
You know, it's disappointing. I'm glad they're using the name Iron Bluffs.
yeah.
But you get all these different housing additions around here, and that
Yeah.
that basically they are naming them after, which have nothing to do
Nothing
with
to do with
Elkhorn.
nothing. No, that's true.
Yeah, and Larry mentioned one time that you said they weren't really going to name anything after a person.
Miller did, and Elkhorn decided not to do that.
Yeah,
And I think when they say Iron Bluff, then the addition around it, people have an idea where the school's at,
right.
that kind of thing. And
Yeah.
if you call it a certain name, the Carl White Building,
Yeah.
where would you go?
Where would
So,
you go? Yeah, you'd have to have an address and all that other good
Yeah.
stuff.
So that was probably probably in the 80s, early 80s, when they decided not
Yeah.
to do that. So.
Well, that Rohwer Farm school over on Q Street, that's
Yeah.
the only one I've known they've done that with, really. So, I don't know.
And that was Millard School.
Yeah, Millard
Well,
Schools.
so, yeah, growing up, we had an Elkhorn address, a Millard phone number, and then Dad was on the co-op board in Gretna. I mean, we were 5 miles from each. That, he could have gone to either Millard or Gretna. I mean, at the time, it was just a decision that, they made. But, yeah, we grew up with a Millard phone number and a party line.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The party line. Yeah. That.
And Custer's had the 4 rings, and he had a trucking business. And I don't know how to explain anything more.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
to me. Not to me.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
remember.
Yeah.
Oh my
But
gosh.
no,
Oh goodness.
Yeah.
But you had a radio, so you knew pretty much. You
Oh,
listened
yeah.
to a station that would tell you what the weather was going to be.
Well, I don't know if they had so much of that. I don't even remember much about that, but we had. Well, I was pretty little when we had. Well, we had radios after that too, but we had a aerial strung from the house all the way down to the crib for aerial. So you could, and it worked pretty good.
What radio shows did you listen to
I
then?
don't know. Probably Captain Midnight or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
When you get home from school, you turn it on. They always had to. Yeah, there was. What the heck was some of them others? They had a lot of.
All I remember is Dialing for Dollars that Mom listened to, so that's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When did you get your first TV? Do you remember getting the first TV?
Yeah. I
Were you
remember.
married then,
Oh yeah.
or at home?
Yeah, it was probably shortly thereafter, I suppose. God. gotta put a time frame on it. That's,
Well, you got married in 50.
yeah.
When were you born? That you're not the oldest, but
No, I'm 60. I was born in 60.
you're born in 60. Oh, you're young.
Well, Connie was born in 51. They got married in 50. Connie was born in 51. Jerry was born in 54.
Yeah.
And then I was 60, and Alan was 61.
Mm.
So they kind of had two sets of
Yeah,
kids.
Families. They can only take two at a time. Or whatever, you know. Yeah, to get and go. But no.
I said if I was an oops, Alan was a bigger oops, and Dad said no. We just figured if we messed up, we just well go ahead and have another. But we're less than a year apart. We're 5 days less
I
than a
have
year
a brother that way.
But you know, when you ask about stuff on the farm, you know, and I think about growing up too on the farm, and it was different. We didn't know any different.
Right.
That was just we had no concept really of town or town kids because all of our time was spent with Poshes, Armbrews, Lambricks, Dolls, Hervottages, Wildhagens, you know, those kind, and that was our church people. They were our 4-H people. They were our Saturday night steak fry people.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they bowled together. They played cards together. They had a network.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys
People
were
work
good
together.
Good bowlers,
Good
you and
years.
Fran.
They were.
Yeah.
They were.
But
Mhm.
Dad knew Dwayne Armbrews from growing up. That they used to go to birthday parties together as little kids.
Mhm.
Who was their neighbor? What their neighbors over there?
Oh, where they were at? Well, there were Gans and oh my gosh,
His
The-
wife was a good friend of Mom. I mean, they always went to birthdays over there.
yeah. If I had a piece of paper and a map, I could tell you the names. I'm not. You do so well remembering names that I'm bad. I'm very bad. But yeah, there were they had a
Yeah.
whole bunch of good neighbors over
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
So there was a connection somewhere
Yeah, yeah,
because you were at Elkhorn and they were in, 96th and F.
yeah.
That's a long ways apart.
But Dad knew Mylan Lambrick
Mm-hmm.
Waterloo.
from Waterloo because, well, you did your 8th grade.
Yeah, I had had to go take the 8th grade exam before you went to high school.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there was 3 of us. Well, 2 of them got mumps before, and I didn't. So I had to go take it myself. They had to take it later someplace else.
But he said Mylan was there. He was the only person he knew.
That he knew.
Down there.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
How did you know Roy?
But
How did you know Roy? Posh.
oh, I know I've known him, Roy and Bob, for a long time, and well, all the Poshes, I guess, so to speak.
Yeah.
Through farming or through church.
Oh, yeah, a little of everything, I guess. It was just
Did you belong to the Farm Bureau?
no.
No.
Farmers Union usually we had
Mm-hmm.
about the same deal. I mean, it's
Grange.
grains. No, I had no. I
You
did.
didn't-
Folks did.
Yeah.
They were grains and stuff. And,
Uh-huh.
There's a
And ironically, when you asked about the weather, because Dad and I talked about this, he said there was in the late 30s, a tornado kind of came through, apparently past our farm out there, missed the farm and got the Schroeders across the road and right.
and the ones across the other deal. It went between us and got the Schroeders and they got one, and we were left high and dry. We didn't get.
And he didn't physically see that one, but it was there and he knows.
We went over it after the next day, I remember, and they had some windows out and stuff like that, so, but no buildings took away or nothing.
But tell him the first tornado you actually visually saw yourself.
Well, yeah, that would have been just a while back, this one that
The
comes
ones in
through.
24
The
Yeah.
one that
Yeah,
that he saw coming across the bluff.
well, I first watched it over towards U10, or not U10,
Ashland.
It was a
From his
column.
kitchen window.
I was sitting in his kitchen
Really?
window having coffee there, and I see this big column over there, and all at once it disappeared. I thought, well, that went on up. Well, I looked out back, and here was this other one, the one that was coming up through this way.
Coming up the bluffs.
It was
Yeah.
dark, yeah.
Yeah.
But at 95, his first time he's ever visually put vision was
I got caught in 2
on
great
his,
rainstorms coming home from the 80s, but other than that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and the
yeah.
strange
that-
thing was, I had just found a couple books in a house my son was working on, and it was the 95 tornadoes in Omaha,
yeah.
and they made books out of them. So I just said, I'm going to take him up to Dad. He likes history. He remembers everything and whatnot. God is my witness. On Thursday, I brought him up. We looked at him. Alan's, we were talking about it, all this other stuff. And it was Saturday or Friday, whatever day.
Friday.
The next day,
yeah.
the tornadoes came and he saw one.
Yeah.
I mean,
First day, yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
yeah, it was,
Yeah.
What are the odds?
yeah, it just
Yeah.
was really bizarre because
Really weird.
Because, you know, going through the book, yeah, this is where Aunt Evie used to live on this, you know, down Dodge Street, you know, things that were demolished, blah, 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 blah. But, and then the next day, it was just too weird.
Be careful what you tell
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Exactly. The pot of gold. There was this,
There was a spot of gold.
Wishful thinking.
Yeah. No, but no, we appreciate your history of what you saw and experienced, you know.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you know, there's not too many people that we can ask about
You know,
certain things.
I wish I'd have talked to my Aunt Myrtle and some of those others more
Yes.
than what I did, because I know they got a lot more memories than I do, but I can, well, a lot of it, I remember Dad talking about his neighbors when he lived over there too. Well, I didn't know them from nobody either, but
Yeah.
sense-wise, we've got some pictures and different things and of the neighbors back in those days too, so.
Yeah.
No, it's just really, it's been worthwhile.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess so.
Yeah,
You're still
because-
here today.
yeah. You know, because when you think about your time span, you know, when
I keep
from
wondering
29.
where I spend all that time.
Yeah, and it went pretty fast. You know, when you think about the older we get, you know,
I know.
it seems
I
like
know.
the time is going
I know.
faster,
Yeah, it does.
and you know the cars that you drove
Oh,
and
yeah.
all those
Oh,
kinds of
yeah.
things.
Yeah.
That yeah, it's just
But he grew a sunflower 2 years ago. You were growing those sunflowers,
Oh, yeah,
and I heard you were surprised at how big they were.
yeah.
So that must have been the first time you grew those giant sunflowers
Yeah.
in your life.
Oh,
Because
Who
they were huge. They
would have
were,
ever thought I had been intentionally planting a sunflower?
and he shared some seeds with me, and I planted some last year, and I have pictures of all mine.
They
Not
got big,
that
too.
big, not that big, but
Oh, really?
no, but they
Well,
were big. Yeah.
Well, when we grew up, we walked beans, as the rest of you did, or corn, whatever. Penny a cockerberg, penny a sunflower.
wow.
Oh.
And Grandpa Rohwer, Ferd, would literally pay us in pennies. So we'd go up and say 285 and we'd get 285 pennies. Yes. Yes. And, you know, we thought we were rich, and again, we didn't know any difference. That just, the fact that we were getting paid at all was probably a big deal.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But, you know, when he said the Cockerber farm and, you know, the sunflowers that literally.
We used to cut out.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
he's planting them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
just yeah. It's just, I don't know why, but I still think we've lived in the best of times. Personally, from World War II on this way,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, I didn't have to really, but the people that are in charge right now were kind of born right around World War II times, and right after,
Yeah.
they're still serving in them. You know, like the presidency,
Yeah.
and those guys are that old. You know, I mean, politics didn't really matter that much back then.
It didn't really, no.
No,
It was,
but-
you picked the guy you liked and you voted for him.
Yeah, and
It wasn't-
FDR. I mean, my dad
Yeah.
was a Franklin Delano
Yeah,
Roosevelt
yeah.
Democrat, and
Yeah,
you know, and
Well, are you on social media?
what?
No. Online.
Are you online? So, see, that is the big difference, I think, between,
Oh, yeah.
today's world and the
Yeah,
one that
yeah.
you grew up with
Yeah.
and I grew up with. Because social
I got
media
a
is
question I
so.
ask her, and she goes to her phone and,
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
Google
Like
everything.
that, you know,
We
it's
Sure.
Google.
Yeah, but I gotta be careful what I Google using that phrase because Google didn't have anything about
Oh,
Iron Bluffs, but
Yeah.
DuckDuckGo did.
Oh,
And that's a different browser. When we talk about these things,
yeah.
who knows what a browser is? You and I don't know what a browser is.
And Dad has a computer, and he can check his stocks. He's got
Sure.
his market sites
Yeah.
and his Shep's Cup. That he can go online and play.
Shepka? He plays on the computer?
Yeah. Well, you can get it on
They
That's
need Shep. Hey, do you
good.
guys play Shep's Cup?
No, but I mean, my mom and dad, that's a big,
Yeah.
I know that's
So
where
they
I
got
got the
guys-
word.
There's 3 guys left that play Shep's Cup,
Yeah, 'cause
and now
Yeah, we were.
what's her
I don't know
name
what
that
it
joined
is.
you, Dad?
it's a card game. but-
Joanne.
Joanne. What's her
Bull?
last name?
Vrath?
Grath, yeah.
Yeah.
So now
we're
plays.
running short. We started with a whole bunch years ago. I don't know how many years ago that we started that.
Did you play with Stamp and all those
Yeah,
over
we
here?
do now. We still
Oh,
do.
Stamps, Winterford Stamp?
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
Chuck Karloff.
yeah.
Yeah.
And Laverne
Yeah.
Lamprecht used to
Yeah,
come.
used
And,
to
yeah.
come. Yeah, used to-
Yeah.
we had quite
Oh.
a few, but they dwindled in there.
Yeah.
So now they're down to 4 of them. Every Tuesday morning, they've been going out to Winterford's because Winterford's kind of been under the weather and he's on
He's
oxygen.
been on
Oh.
oxygen for quite a while.
So they've been going out to his house for the last month or so. Joanne
Yeah.
picks them up. Otherwise, they played up at the Eagles.
Sure.
That Cindy Harm would open the door, turn on the coffee pot. The guys would come play and lock the door on their way out.
Oh
Wow.
my God,
Yeah.
that's great.
pretty
See,
cool.
but that was a
Yeah,
good
it-
pastime even
That's
when you
really
were
cool.
growing up, playing cards with the neighbors and all
Oh,
that.
yeah.
That was
Well,
a
that
great
was the nice
pastime.
part. We go, well, you visit your relatives, and stuff, and then towards the evening or afternoon, gals would go take lunch, so then the guys were willing to play with us kids. We get to play subs. That's how we learned to play subs. They weren't afraid to give you hell if you didn't.
Yeah.
Usually that's what I remember.
So my grandparents and mom and dad played Shep's Cup their whole life in card clubs. And
Yeah.
mom and dad always tried. Grandpa glued the cards together to give us the guide. Tried forever to teach us Shep's Cup. So I went to college for a couple of years and I wrote Mom this letter. Mom, I cannot wait to come home. I learned this great card game. It's called Sheephead. I've got the letter. You dumb kid. We've been trying to teach you Shep's Cup for years. Then I met my husband and started playing Buck. They're all 3 the same game.
Oh,
Just different names, yeah.
Oh
So-
my,
We play Shep's Cup. Neil and I have played Shep's Cup, but Mom, you dumb kid. She was so excited.
oh, you didn't know.
Well, I wasn't paying attention growing up, apparently, at the kitchen table.
I got a question that's not on the sheet, but what about the county fair?
Oh, yeah.
I knew you'd smile.
They were a great social event. Yeah, I would say that. I remember some of they had some pretty good named people for the
Shows, yeah.
yeah,
They were
for
really
the shows.
good,
Yeah. I remember what the heck was.
Brenda Lee. was one I
That's what I
remember.
was thinking of.
Yeah, Brenda Lee was way
That
back.
was pretty great. Yeah.
Festus.
Yeah,
Festus?
Festus from Gunsmoke.
He was down here?
Yeah,
What was
Yeah.
His real name, Festus, was just from Gunsmoke.
Curtis. Ken Curtis.
Yes,
Ken
Ken
Curtis.
Curtis.
And the songs,
He was a
Cowboy.
singer.
yeah, he
Pioneers.
was
Yeah.
a Sons of the
Sons of the
Pioneers.
Pioneers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
But what I'm thinking of is the outdoor dances
Oh, yeah.
out on the
Oh.
concrete
Yeah,
pad.
yeah, yeah, they always had.
And your folks and you guys,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
People just use it.
we were pretty young, but we envied you guys because you really,
Oh,
you know,
Larry
had a
and I went,
good.
Larry and I went around picking up the
They got
bottles.
two
Yeah.
systems there.
So we could collect money. I did that.
No, those were.
But did you ever have stock show animals at the Douglas County Fair or Sarpy County?
No, I haven't really.
Didn't take any
Didn't
animals.
take any
Okay.
animals?
Kids did, but,
Do you remember we would have the day of the cattle show?
so
When I was a kid, the day of the cattle show,
Oh, yeah.
you and Mom and Daddy and Roy and Marion and I can't remember who else, you all gathered together at the back of the cattle barn
oh, yeah.
and had a big party.
We had pretty good parties there sometimes.
That's why I admired you. That's why my wife and I admired you.
I was coming to that too.
Yeah.
I think sit on the hay bales back there and
And the other thing, I bowled against these guys, and all these guys milk cows.
Yeah.
Well, all us young bucks couldn't hardly get up in the morning, and by the time we were up, these guys all had their cows milked.
Yeah.
And I think every one of them milked, didn't they?
yeah,
At
Yeah.
one time.
Yeah, they did.
they did.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's why they went out. They started their evenings. Didn't you start like at 8:30 or 9? I mean, when you went out,
Yeah, we always started.
You would be
yeah,
starting- not at 7.
Yeah, we were on the late,
Yeah, I remember you always.
late shift. Yeah,
it was a late
Late.
yeah.
But you,
Yeah.
yeah, but you were up and ready to go at 6 in the morning easily, weren't you?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
you
But
kind
you're,
of.
you know, when you think about like your mother, your grandmother, they didn't have indoor plumbing. They didn't have any of those things, and yet everybody just, I mean, it just, yeah.
Yeah, I know Mom would go out and help pick corn too.
Yeah,
Later, after I got a little older, I got to fix the inside row, and Dad had fixed it too.
sure.
You get one alongside the head every once in a while.
Yeah.
It was hand picking. That was.
You ever remember making soap? Did you ever make soap? Lye
Yeah,
soap?
Mom did. Yeah.
Your mom did? Yeah.
Yeah.
Things that, yeah, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
how would the kids survive today?
I don't know.
You know,
but-
if when you think
Yeah.
about all the luxuries that we have.
Yeah. You
You
had
know?
that lye and what was it, grease and
Yeah,
make soap
grease,
with,
yeah, and you made that, big vats,
Yeah.
and I mean, taking the Saturday night bath in a
Oh,
big
yeah.
tub,
Yeah.
and those copper broilers where you heated the,
Yeah.
I never did that, but I mean, it's just that I hear stories about that,
Oh, yeah. We did.
you know, yeah. 'Cause it's surprisingly, in 1924, when my dad was born right here in Elkhorn, they had electricity up on that farm where
Oh,
he
yeah.
lived.
Yeah.
Where Grandpa and Grandma Peterson lived
Oh,
up
yeah.
there, where Gotch's feedlots
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Dad, they were born with electricity
I'll be
there.
darned.
I couldn't get over that. I said, you gotta be kidding.
Yeah.
You know, because that helped, you know, the elevator and everything.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, they had to have, you know, motors and stuff like that.
Yeah. But no, I just,
I know, we never got it until after World War II.
yeah. Well, I couldn't believe like 1954, Bill Andreessen over here off of Blondo. They got electricity in 1954.
54, I'll be darned.
You know, and I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
and here we're in Elkhorn, we had it, you know, I mean, you know, but yeah. No, you sound like you've had a great family life, and,
Oh,
you know,
yeah. No,
you sound like you came from good stock, anyway.
That gets some help. some.
Yeah.
No, it really is.
We got it.
You have longevity in the family, pretty much. I mean,
Well, Mom and Dad both lived to 75.
oh, okay.
And, I don't know where
46, 47.
Wow.
how fortunate I am to get this old. I don't know if it's good or bad, but I haven't figured that out yet either. But we'll take it.
Yeah.
But, you know, so just
You keep moving.
Yes.
Yeah, don't quit.
Don't
That's the
ever
main
quit.
thing. Don't quit.
No, you've never really had an accident, thank God. I mean, you know, wherever, you know, where you've, you know, fallen off a tractor or, you know, anything that would be like machinery.
Not too bad.
Did you hear that?
Not too bad.
Yeah.
No, but
Yeah.
did you ever have heat exhaustion? Where man, you work till the is 100 degrees, and man, you,
No, I probably could anymore, because heat bothers the heck out of me, does now anyway. So it's good.
Jerry's down in Mexico.
I don't know, maybe I would, maybe I wouldn't, but I don't want to take chance, I don't think.
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you bale hay?
Oh, yeah.
Did anybody? You're probably on the back on the wagon pulling the bales out.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
And whoever was driving, did they accidentally step on the brake or go too fast and knock you off the wagon?
Well, yeah, yeah, I used to, well, I worked with my Uncle Art. He had a baler and he baled all over, you know, and stuff, and we'd have one guy in the rack and one guy out, and he'd set on the, catch one that, you know, didn't tie or something, and he'd catch
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But anyway, we'd go, and I think it was, how many, it was so many bales, and then we changed. The guy who was stacking got to drive, and then the guy that was driving.
Oh.
You had to trade off.
For another 250 bales or whatever it was.
Wow.
So
Are they actually 100 pounds?
they can get that
They
way.
can go
Yeah.
that way.
Try not to. 70, 80 pounds, that's a pretty good hefty bale usually.
Yeah.
It gets a little wetter, they get a little heavier, so.
Well, Dad used a custom bale too for,
Well, I had that round baler, did for a lot of people's pasture their bales over the winter, you know, you bale their force cutting up something, you know, for that and stuff. So,
Did you ever dig one of those trenches where you put all your grain and
Yeah,
stuff
silo,
in,
yeah,
silo,
yeah.
on the ground,
Yeah.
and then covered it up?
that's what they did that year. They were so lean.
Oh.
Yeah,
They dug the silo and put their silo, the stalks in it for,
Mm-hmm.
The only way to save the crop.
In the 40s,
Yeah.
that's when we got the silage cut over our own. Then we dug another one back and we did another silo and stuff. So.
Did you have a question, Dave?
No.
Oh.
No, there's somebody looking through the window out there, so I just waved at
Oh,
them.
and I thought, oh, you wanted to talk about it, but yeah, no.
so
but-
Are there any more questions?
Sweep, before that, you were pit hauling it in?
Yep.
So the sweep was a big deal at that
Oh,
time?
yeah, we stack it, the field stack it. That was always Saturday. Then when they had the
Now,
stacks.
when you hauled those stacks in, they were all tore apart by hand and hauled in?
You got a
They
picture
were,
of it?
I found out what
Okay,
the hay knife was for.
Part of it?
that's this,
What?
The hay knife, you know, they'd
Yeah.
cut across them, and then you'd put a load off on this side of the stack. The next time you'd cut to the other side, and then you cut it back this way again.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
I've got two of them and I did.
That's what they're for. That's
Is
what
that
they're-
right? I
that's
did not
what-
know that.
That's what they're for.
Dad, I must have left something at home because I have well, no.
So Larry, when you're talking about that, what would it look like today?
That's
A
just
sweep.
Dad and,
Well, when his dad was stacking, it was a pile.
Yeah.
And then it'd settle, it'd dry and settle, and then you had this hay knife. You couldn't just go take a pitchfork and start taking it away.
so
Well,
You had to cut it.
Larry, maybe.
we have the
It
real
was a lot
thing,
easier when
but
you
this
cut
is
it
the
across and
pattern.
you can start taking
My
it
grandpa
off
made
and
of the
you're
hay
closer to your-
It's a
Yeah.
big.
And I just took a picture of the one on the wall.
It's all
And
the
if you're
stone.
I've
taking
seen
it
them
up,
before,
it's
but
like,
Down
oh,
by
yeah,
the
that's
river.
right, you put the cement
Yeah,
on
I've
it.
got a couple of them too.
We can't hear.
I mean, it's a big deal.
Yeah, and Grandpa.
We used to throw them away, and then
Trying to get.
later on, we started saving those things.
Oh, yeah.
This isn't a good picture, but this is the pattern of the hay sweep.
Oh, yeah?
And Dad's got the original one, and then we have it in frame. And I thought I brought a smaller picture of it, but I must have left
So
something at home.
it fit on the front of the tractor
Yeah.
and had all of these deals,
Yeah,
and you
yeah,
went
yeah.
and you picked it up.
Yeah.
I mean, they had horses. I remember seeing them when they put it on a stack
Yeah,
out in the
that's what-
field,
that's what you
and
do,
that and then it would come
Yeah.
up and
Yeah.
he had invented that for.
This was, on the front of
This-
the tractor.
on the
yeah.
front of a
It worked
tractor.
great, yeah, they had a stacker then, and then you'd stack it out in the field. Then that was Saturdays, always Saturdays, good enough for next week, you know, to get
Yeah.
it down to feed the cattle and stuff.
Yeah, because
Yeah, that
like
was-
those, you know, and the people that came around like a Fritz Posh, who were thrashers,
Shell corn, yeah.
shell corn
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
Did they ever do any of that, like in your area?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all, they shelled about everybody's corn around the country.
You know,
So you
They-
get on a cob and, I mean,
you-
it was all in cobs.
Yeah.
They had all those cobs on their place. Do you remember?
It's just,
On their home place, the
Oh,
the
yeah,
empty
that-
cobs.
that pile?
Yeah, piles and piles.
Yeah.
And the corn cob dances?
Yeah.
That, yeah,
Isn't gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's
those
my dad
were-
and his sister
oh,
going
yeah.
to school.
See, we didn't, that was the other
Yeah,
thing,
and the cat.
we, our heat was,
I just
when
didn't
I
know what
was
they
young,
wanted
it
to
was
see
wood.
pictures of or what.
We had
You
a
can't have
lot
too
of
many.
maple trees and that dry years, some of them, a lot of them died. Well, Dad got one of these, one of these big saws, the log saws. He bought it, anyway, we cut them and we blast them and stuff and bring them up and then cut them up for firewood. And that was one of the projects always in the, we did that with the neighbors too. They'd get their pile of logs and bring the saw over and stuff and cut wood. Most of the heat was wood fired stuff, so.
You're talking one that run with a belt? A big one or
No,
a hand?
That's, what do you call them, out of a log saw,
Okay,
you know, with a big blade.
yeah, yeah,
You pull it up over and lay it on the log and then
okay.
start her up and then saw down through it, stuff, so. Anyway,
yeah.
yeah, that was always quite a project, cause all those years until we finally got heat, you know, furnace and stuff like that.
So
Did you go
so
from
then was
wood
that
to coal or oil or?
Yeah, oil furnace, yeah.
were you were there like 2-story houses and no heat upstairs and you slept upstairs?
Oh, yeah.
So we had 2 bedrooms upstairs. The boys' room and our room, and Jerry and Alan shared a room, Connie and I shared a room. And Jerry and Alan had a heat vent in their room, and the hallway had a heat vent. But Connie's and my room did not. We had the floor vent. Ooh, it was, but again, we didn't know any difference, but it was cold. And if it got really cold, I'd sneak in the boys' room and sleep on their floor on the end of their bed or something. It would get cold upstairs.
Weren't you together in the bed, you and Connie?
But she was 10 years older, so by the time I was 8, she was 18.
Yeah,
she
you're
was like
a lot
out of the
older.
house.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I was cold by
I don't
myself.
know her. I didn't,
Yeah.
I knew
Yeah.
you, but I didn't know Connie. She was
9 years older than I am, but
Yeah.
yeah, by the
So-
time she was 18, I was
And
9.
the folks slept downstairs in the warmth?
Yes.
How do you think they got the 4 kids? Oh, but no.
It was, but yeah, our room was cold.
Yeah.
It was cold.
Yeah, those floor vents, all that was just a little hole in the floor with a vent over it, but nothing going like.
Whatever heat you had down
Yeah,
below
no,
would sneak up through there.
Yes,
from you.
yes.
The only thing they were good for is to spy on the
Yes.
going on downstairs. You know, when they had New Year's Eve or something at their house.
It never took the frost off the windows. It would always, they would frost up overnight.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was cold.
Yeah, but yeah.
You practice your alphabet on the
Oh,
frost on the window.
Oh, yeah.
Stick your fingernail.
Yeah, but no. But they didn't seem hard times to you.
Not really, no. No, we didn't know anything about the Depression or anything like that.
Yeah.
Actually, as kids, you know, everybody had was in the same boat. I mean,
Right,
that was the
right.
whole
Right.
problem.
Yes.
Or maybe a blessing, I don't know.
But I think coming out of the Depression, they were frugal.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, you were raised frugal,
Yeah,
even though
yes,
you weren't part of that.
That we were, yeah.
And I know my mom's family too, you know, and trust me, and you all know this, your
Dad's
parents.
penny wise and pound foolish, that was one of his things.
But, you know, we were raised to be frugal
Conservative,
also.
yes, yeah.
and that's kind of a lost art. I mean, I'm,
Oh, yeah.
We're
know-
too, yeah, why do they have landfills, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
now, cause they throw away a lot of stuff.
or all
don't they?
these
yeah.
storage places
Yes.
though, everybody wants to
Yes.
acquire stuff, but don't have a spot for it.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm. Did anybody try and, you know, garbage from the town people, like we used to take it and throw it in the creek,
Yeah,
you know,
What?
and that kind of stuff. When I'm talking when I'm little, you know, it's in the 50s,
yeah.
you know, and we had a place where tin cans.
Yeah.
Well, you know, right out here by Mount Calvary Cemetery,
Yeah.
there was the city dump,
Yeah,
and they built a house on top of it now. But that's where we threw our TV,
yeah,
our tin cans,
yeah.
and then we threw a lot of stuff. You know, Brune, when he was doing cow butchering down there by the viaduct,
Yeah.
he ran all that blood right down into that Papio Creek. We
Yeah.
used to, you know, and then at the end there was where we would dump some stuff
Yeah.
right in how the
Yeah,
Papio
yeah,
was.
Yeah,
You know, I mean, yeah, we were.
yeah.
What are you going to do with that excess stuff that we
Yeah.
were starting
Well,
to accumulate?
Dad they still can have burn barrels,
Oh,
but he's really conscious of when he'll burn trash,
Oh, yes.
according to the wind, because he doesn't want it blowing into these neighborhoods that people are going to call the fire department. Oh my God, there's smoke, and then he loses that ability too.
sure.
But they got rid of their pasture cattle when all of the building started out there
Yeah,
because of the risk if one would get out on the road and somebody would get hurt.
Yep.
Yeah.
The liability.
Or running on somebody's lawn that's been just sodded.
Sue,
Yeah.
sue, sue.
They didn't want any part of it, so they,
Figured that it was a good time to get rid of them.
Yeah,
That's what they
yeah,
yeah.
got rid of them, stuff, so.
yeah. Larry, you know that too. There where you live, it's all
Yeah.
housing and
Mm-hmm.
and that way that you just
Yeah,
you get pushed out and
yeah.
you know you were there first.
You know, when you were saying, when electricity come, did everybody get it right away, or was it, do you remember, did it come quick, or did they get rid of all their gas engines right away, or?
I know we had to get somebody to wire the house,
Yeah,
and I don't remember,
outside so much, what,
yeah. Well, we did the barns too, and the stuff they wired. But I don't know, we had to have that done before they brought it in, or what, I don't recall that. I suppose it could have.
Yeah,
I
that,
remember wiring the houses and the barns, and that was nice, so we get it done. Yeah, we had to have it. Then we'd get a milk machine, we had to.
Once you had electricity,
yeah. And you know that's one thing that really electricity has changed us. You know, and we can't live without it.
No, you can't, no.
Now you just can't.
yeah.
No.
And that's one bad thing. I mean, should leave another option,
Yeah.
but we don't really. We
Yeah,
put
no.
all of our, you know,
Yeah.
into electricity, and then
Yeah.
like you maybe could survive better than all of us. We've all
Well.
lived with electricity, and yet, you know, some of those who grew up that way, you know,
You
remember-
panic, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that was one thing, that was one job we had, there's still kerosene lamps with kerosene. We burn them. And then the Aladdin lamps, they were nice and bright, they really had good price.
did you have something that had like a white,
Yep, sack on it,
Yeah.
that's Aladdin's lamps.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
good deal, yeah.
and if you bumped the table,
Oh,
it
yeah,
would,
they'd fall apart.
Yeah, yeah,
And you
yeah.
gotta string a new one and start it all over again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
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 because
those were the days, yeah.
Yes.
that
So,
was-
so when you went out to check cattle or hogs or something at night, you'd take your kerosene lamp or your Aladdin lamp, and
Yep,
no such thing as a
And
flash.
Well,
there's
that's-
no
well, that's
lights in the
Yeah.
on the place on the
Yeah,
well, when.
Building.
When we was picking corn by hand, well, it had, Herman Dose and he'd come down every year, pick corn by hand. Well, they was always out with lanterns doing the milking and stuff like that before they, and tried to be at the field by sunup, so.
yeah
God.
milk by by
Indoor
lantern.
plumbing, when did you get indoor plumbing?
Actually, that wasn't until we got married, actually. When I put it in, yeah.
I mean, I think Connie said she remembers using the outhouse.
Oh, yeah.
And she was born 51, so it just, and the outhouse was always in the horse pen. It was always right out there. We didn't have to use it on purpose, but I didn't have to use it on purpose.
Yeah.
But Aunt Norma in Iowa, his sister, they didn't get indoor plumbing till
It was,
the late 60s probably at
Yeah,
least, because
yeah.
I remember when we'd go over, we'd have to go out to the outhouse. And it was
Scary
absolutely,
at night.
yeah, you had to really have to go if you wanted to go out at night.
Or if it was January.
Or
oh,
January.
yeah,
Yeah,
Well, that ended up
yeah.
a pot.
a chamber pot, yeah. I mean, when we do the little third graders to the museum and talk to them about the things that we're doing, this year for the one of the first times, Roger Quinn was here talking about milking a cow.
Oh, yeah.
And he said we had to do it this way. And he said that a lot of people in Elkhorn maybe would have a cow,
Yeah,
you know, on the property.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
of course, now today they're going back to raising chickens.
Yeah.
A lot of
Yeah,
places where
yeah,
a lot of people
yeah,
are living.
yeah.
And so a little boy out there in the audience, a third grader, says, we still do that in Nepal, a country. There, can you imagine
Oh, yeah.
how to go back?
You go back.
You know,
yeah.
they got to come here
Yeah,
and see what we've,
where
Yeah.
we've gone with our stuff.
yes,
Yeah,
how we've, you know, just,
I'll be
it's
darned. And I never-
unbelievable.
yeah, I never thought about that either.
Yeah,
There are other places in this world where
they're just doing that now to milk, you know,
Yeah.
and here we take it for, you know,
we take everything for granted.
Yes,
Absolutely,
anyway, yeah.
We do.
yeah. Well, this has been a joy talking with you. God, it's been fun, you
Well,
know.
it's been kind of fun to recollect some of it because it escapes you, you know, so
Sure.
much does after.
Is there anything at all that we haven't covered or that you wanted to talk about? Do you think we?
I'll know by tonight.
What about polio, Dad, when it came through, polio?
Yeah, we got a polio deal, I guess it was. They had to take this drink, I think it was.
Yeah.
Did anyone in your family or anyone you know get polio?
My Aunt Helena, I think, had polio, and who else? Oh, Vern Godberson did.
Okay.
He had one leg shorter than the other.
Did you ever know that Billy Reekin, young Billy Reekin,
Yeah?
he had polio
Oh, really?
and he was in a tank, an iron lung?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I didn't know that either until we read it in one of these old
How old
newspapers.
was he?
I'll be darned.
But it just said young, young Billy
Yeah.
Reekin. But I don't know how old he was. And now in our class, Jack Whithelm had polio.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I went to the Rotary Club here they really center on polio victims. And I said, you know, Jack Whithelm was in my class.
Mhm.
And they didn't put us like quarantined, like Jack and his family, were they all quarantined?
Yeah.
I don't know. Didn't even know he had
I
polio.
didn't know.
polio.
Yeah, was there anything special done in the early 50s when polio was
Yeah.
before the vaccine, when it was still, you could catch it?
Yeah.
Was there anything special like going to church, people had to sit apart, or going to school, you had to wear masks? Did they do any of that? Yeah.
No, I don't think so. Nothing.
Like
I can-
when Connie's a baby and Jerry's a baby, because it was
Yeah.
still hanging
Should've been
around,
Oh, yeah.
rampant then. So nobody did anything special to stay
Not
away.
really, not that I can remember.
The only thing I'm thinking, there was no big social gatherings.
Yeah,
You gathered
that's
with
kind
your
of
family or,
Unless it
you
was a
know,
wedding.
there just
or-
wasn't anything,
During that time,
yeah, I'm guessing, but
yeah, that's what yeah.
I'm guessing.
Like my mom, when we lived in the farm, my mom would not let us go outside and get in the mud or anything dirty.
We couldn't take
because
swimming
of-
lessons.
Yeah.
We couldn't go to Peony Park here
And we stayed home
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
because we didn't want to get it.
Swimming lessons, yeah.
See,
I see.
Was there any other diseases that came, I mean, the whooping cough or the
yeah, now they say that.
Measles.
epidemics that came through?
Measles,
I mean, the mumps, Apparently the foxes couldn't go to
They
the
missed
eighth
me
grade.
anyway. They got my two
He never did get the mumps.
classmates got the mumps and I didn't. So
Yeah, yeah.
I still haven't had mumps.
Good.
No,
You
neither
don't want
Leslie
mumps.
and I, yeah,
Probably
you know,
won't.
no,
No.
but, you know, yeah. I had the bad rubella measles when I was in the
Oh, yeah.
3rd grade. And Leslie slept with me and she never caught it.
Isn't
Yeah.
that amazing?
You know, the one thing we all got, I don't know. Have you guys all had smallpox shots?
The one that leaves a mark.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have mine on my thigh.
Really?
Yep,
Ah,
back here on my
yeah.
thigh.
Mine's
And I think
right
it was the
here.
only year because I think Alan's got his in his arm.
Yeah, it was.
But I
That
think,
was a big thing back then.
But I-
Oh, yeah.
For us to go
Yeah,
and all have
yeah.
our smallpox
Yeah,
shot.
yeah.
but
Yeah, that's
yeah,
pretty
mine's
dangerous stuff.
on
yeah,
my
it
thigh.
really
Yeah.
was,
Yep.
You always got that one big scab on there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Left a mark.
Yeah, left a mark. Leslie didn't get it, so I don't know. But Leslie's kind of immune to everything, I think.
Oh,
But-
really?
Yeah, I don't know, because, yeah,
Yes,
Yeah,
I
you know.
never, my
Yeah.
mother would never let me get sick, so.
What
She
can
didn't
I
have
do?
time to take care of me, so I couldn't get sick. And that's true though, I mean, I didn't.
yeah, yeah.
That's funny.
No,
Oh, yeah.
and the only other thing, so after church on Sundays, we always got to stop at Malek's
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
with our nickel, and we mom and dad pull up in front. Alan and I'd run in, get our nickel's worth of candy, and we come back out, and then dime, whatever. So I asked Dad not that many years ago, because frugal, right? I mean, that's kind of needless spending. Why did we get to do it?
Yeah.
And your answer was, because you got to.
Yeah.
His parents would take him to Malek's and let them run in and get.
oh, and that was it, and then they let you.
And so that was just something they got to do as a kid, so then we got to do as a kid. And
Oh, yeah.
That, yeah.
his favorite candy was
Well, that was.
Walnuttos.
Oh,
And
so do you see them sometimes that you can get them?
I
Cracker Barrel?
I went online. I found one in like an old candy store in Omaha, and then I think I might have ordered them once from like a country store magazine, but if you go on there anymore, it's they're out of stock. They're out of stock. They're out of stock. So you can't. But we did
Yeah,
get some
we did
Walnuttos,
some,
and
yeah.
that was his. I'd never even heard of him before. But
Yeah.
you know, so Malek's was around and serving candy to little kids.
Did you ever smoke?
Yeah, I did.
You did.
Quit in 1974. When I played horseshoe and I smoked about 2 packs of cigarettes, I said, this ain't gonna get it. I quit.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember you were a great horseshoe player.
Yeah, I played quite a lot of horseshoe, yeah.
Yes, yes. Who was playing with you, and what teams, and where did you play?
Well, Ostrowski's, Frank and them, and there was a whole bunch of them. I wish I could remember all the names.
Tom Lampman and Golub.
We had teams, we'd play all these different teams every so often.
Where were you playing? It was somewhere down here in Elkhorn,
Gretna.
wasn't?
Yeah,
Oh,
but
Gretna.
No, we did back in the bar in Elkhorn here.
Oh,
Yeah.
We
yes.
fished for a while there.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember that part.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah,
it Jerry's?
yeah, back at Jerry's
Oh,
bar
yeah.
there,
Yeah,
yeah.
back
Okay.
to Jerry's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then I did,
How many trophies did you win?
I got one first place in my class trophy.
Good.
We've got horseshoe trophies.
Where?
And that
Bowling
was a
trophies.
damnedest day. It rained and they watered the torch and we was working with mud. I think that's the only reason I won first. Probably.
You're the only one that could deal with it, huh?
Yeah, I don't think I had that much to do with it.
They used to
Oh,
go in
yeah.
and play.
That was the better part of my life too, is the horseshoe pitching and stuff.
Yeah.
And you meet so many neat people,
Mm-hmm.
great people.
Yeah.
Bet you'd have been a good golfer too,
I
because you know that.
I've tried it a few
Bowling
times. Bowling, yeah, I worked out.
Yeah, because
I
bowling. Yeah,
Never got into the golf, Ted. Her husband is a good golfer, so.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah, you were a good bowler.
yes.
You're a good bowler too.
Yeah,
I
we bowled
remember.
pretty well,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We bowled a lot of years together too, didn't we?
Yes, sirree. Oh, there they are. There's the guys.
Look at that young.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're all
There's
young.
Kelvin Parr. Yeah, there's Armours there. Yeah. Who's the guy
Roy.
in glasses?
That's Mylan.
Oh, Mylan.
Bob
Okay.
Dahl.
And Bob Dahl.
And that's Roy.
Oh gosh,
Yeah.
that Bob Dahl and his dad and all them guys, weren't they great?
Yeah.
Jeez, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
you know, you had some
That
great
And Merle
friends.
was my aunt,
Oh,
his mother,
sure.
so we were cousins. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Did you have trouble dating? You could be related to somebody down the line?
No, I don't know if I.
Well, there's Dad and Bob Dahl. It's dark, but it's
Thank God you got them on the names on the backs.
Yeah, we should do more of that. We got quite a
we
few
started this a
pictures
few
we don't
years
know.
ago,
Well, great.
going through pictures and stuff, and then we've got the box of unknown. We just have no idea who. And
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you
No.
don't realize that at the time.
this is my dad,
Okay.
Roy Posh,
Roy Posh.
Dwayne Armbruster,
Armbruster.
Mylan Lambert, and Bob
I
Dahl.
was gonna ask Lloyd, this has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
That's cool.
But you know, they talked about the autonomous tractor that drives itself and goes along.
Oh, yeah.
But when you had a good team, didn't they go straight
Pioneer Seed.
down, when you planted, the team went straight?
Yeah, well, more or less, yeah.
And if you got to a fence row, didn't they turn around by themselves
There's a guy
sometimes?
in the Allen
Well, they
class.
get used to it, they have, and
Alley and hang out with
we,
the
most of it, we tractor, we went to Lister and tractor, so we didn't use
guys
it.
right everywhere.
But when you picked corn by hand, didn't the
Allen
team
would
Oh,
go-
stop
yeah,
when you
oh,
wanted
yeah,
it to?
Oh, yeah, they'd move it.
now, so aren't we trying to do the same thing?
Yeah, yeah.
Just bring the horses back. Is that it?
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting
We're working
thing
with the
that
satellites
brought that
now.
up.
We plant corn with that, we don't have to have
There was no
markers.
lying to her because
You talk about
Scuttlebutt.
changes, that is something else.
everybody liked her. But
Depend
I
with
remember
the
thinking, you know,
satellite.
what's up
Your
with
mom's great. It's
that?
like,
Yeah.
that's
I
not the
didn't
one we
realize
raised.
that.
Turn around, it picks it up, and then you take it back to the other end.
Yeah,
It's amazing, it's amazing. You don't have to have
We've got a
markers or
ton of 'em.
nothing.
Yeah,
just
I remember
Lambert.
Daddy always had a fence
Lambert or
post,
Lamprecht?
and he'd aim for a fence post.
Oh, yeah.
Is that's how he'd get a straight line across the field?
Oh, yeah.
Did you do that too?
No.
No,
No.
I've done that, yeah.
Maybe you.
We
you
use that to try to get straight. but
Yeah, you
it
try to
didn't
get
often-
straight.
Didn't
Nah.
very often get straight.
not always.
Always
No.
had a curve somewhere.
Or if you fall asleep.
Yeah.
Have you flown in the airplanes a lot?
Oh,
Have you
yeah.
You've done that? You ever gone up in a hot air balloon?
Yeah, I've been up in that too.
Isn't that amazing
That
how
is-
you
that-
can,
That's
North
great,
of the
yeah.
Love's truck stop now.
I-
There's a big
Well,
dairy
see, I'd
farm.
have-
were you close to where you grew up? I mean, here or in the
Yeah,
area?
yeah,
You took a
yeah.
hot air balloon?
Yeah, yeah,
Alan and Betty,
Oh, gosh,
yeah,
yeah.
we,
Sandy.
That was in
Yeah, that's-
Oviedo
that's
Dairy, I
neat.
think, the one I'm thinking.
Yeah, to see how the ground from there to
Yeah.
like,
yeah.
you know,
They lived
Yeah.
not
there.
realize
Oh,
about the
back-
curvature
yeah.
of the earth or anything like
I
that.
know it, yeah.
Yeah, it's just really,
Yeah,
It really
Lloyd
is.
and Fran did a
His
lot
brother
of
Roger was
traveling.
just-
You what?
You did a lot of traveling, you and Fran,
Oh, yeah.
He and Dad are cousins.
driving
Yeah.
all over the country.
Yeah.
Alaska. You went up to Alaska, didn't you?
you drove up
driving.
to Alaska?
We was up, well, we went to New England and across Nova Scotia back into,
Oh, jeez.
I don't think we ever got up to Alaska.
You didn't get to
I
Alaska?
didn't get to Alaska.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
But you were up in that New England area, huh?
That's a beautiful trip, if you ever get a chance to do it.
Yeah.
It's worth it, yeah,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, neat.
yeah.
Yeah. And you meet nice people all along the way.
Oh, yeah, you do that
Yeah.
too, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is, it is. No, that trip we took up to New England and Nova Scotia and back over to Prince Edward Island.
Yeah.
And back to Canada, and we come down to Dearborn. We just had the Ford Museum down there. And we stopped at all of them. The best part was we got up in Canada. We stayed overnight, you know, got a place. We went out to get breakfast the next morning, and we got into the restaurant. They spoke nothing but French.
Oh. So what'd you
Did they ever
order?
tell you that?
No, I've never heard that one.
Yeah, and
No.
We finally got across to what we wanted.
Wow. Or you just start pointing, or what?
Yeah.
Point. Yeah.
I took a picture of that and showed it to Nancy, or sent it
Yeah, it's,
Where were they at? What beach?
to Dad. Where in that picture when you guys were on the beach with Dwayne?
yeah.
Where were you? Where? Mexico? Or is that
Let him see it.
California?
Could have been, I don't know, either one. It could
It's
have
in
been
72,
72.
and it had to be the winter time because they couldn't have gone anywhere else.
Yeah,
Any other time.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, yeah.
And they
what-
had to wait till after my wedding.
I don't remember,
Yeah.
I don't remember
So-
where that was.
I mean,
Yeah.
and my mom didn't like water, so you know.
Yeah.
Oh, we have packages of pictures of their trips
So
together.
did you get it, like, when, Leslie and I flew down to Tucson, and when we came back with a whole bunch of farm people from Wahoo and
This
all
area.
this.
Oh, yeah?
And they said it was a trip given to them by somebody, like a corn dealer
Oh, yeah.
or whatever. And we get there, and here we are in it was San Diego, where we were talking, and these guys were all from Nebraska. Well, we are too, you know. But they had been down to Mexico,
Oh, yeah.
and it was in February, so
Yeah.
they wouldn't have been worried about being farm.
I don't
people.
think
No.
you ever took any seed corn trips. You guys just
No, we just went down and, yeah, no, we went, well, I don't know, your folks had some relation in California.
California,
They had some
yeah.
friends there, and
You went out there.
We did this whole tour there, stuff
Uh-huh.
like that, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Dad, what did you go to Washington D.C. for that one time? For
That was with Farmers Union on some kind of bill that was coming up, and we a bunch of us went back to try to promote it. And that was kind of neat too. You get to visit, you know, not necessarily your, but some other states people that you know you wanted. No, that was the kind of a neat experience too.
Were you visiting with congressmen too?
Yeah.
And just Nebraska or other states?
Well,
Or?
I don't know. We had quite a few from Nebraska went up. I suppose there were other groups went from different places too.
Yeah. Wonder
But,
which farm bill that was.
That was kind of neat. I got pictures somewhere that we some of the
do you know what? Have any idea what bill it was?
front step of the kill.
Yeah, we've got pictures to back up all this stuff. I'm just saying.
Great.
But I just remember Dad went because he brought me back this great big fat pencil. You know, one of those big
Yeah,
pencils that about this long. You know, they had the.
yeah, and big racer.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was from Washington D.C. So I'm
Yeah.
guessing I was in grade school. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
But geez, no.
And Dad worked the election. He was on the election board for
25 or at least 25 years. I suppose that's what I got a pin for anyway. 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I suppose
That's worth a lot.
yeah.
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 At the time you were on the co-op, did you ever realize it'd still be going and as big as it is? And
No.
That's what
Well, when I got on, I got on out of left field, and that was when Miller was growing up and all that stuff. And we was pretty sure we was going to have to do something. We weren't going to be able to stay in Millard.
Mm-hmm.
That's when we moved out to Gretna. So we bought
Oh, that's right. It was
Cranbrook's.
156, wasn't it?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah. And a lot of people wasn't crazy about it, but it wasn't very long, and we wouldn't have had any business down that way anyway. So it worked out. Actually, it worked out real well. Now they got one up here.
Daddy had a share.
Huh?
Daddy had a share of that co-op. So when he passed,
Yeah.
we talked to them and we got money
Oh,
for
yeah.
the share. That was crazy. Yeah.
Well, they put so much back, and then they give you a dividend. But then when you pass, then they got to give you all your dividends.
Back, yeah.
I think that's kind of the way it is.
I was just shocked.
The 1 year
What
they-
about school board? Were you on the school board
Yeah,
out there?
yeah.
And why did they close that Spring Grove school for
Well,
the kids to go to Elkhorn?
It was getting pretty old, it was kind of a historic thing. It had an awful lot of initials carved in the soft red brick, and I think probably like the coal furnace or whatever we had, or stove. I think about those teachers that had to start their fires in the morning and in the wintertime and stuff, and they had cob. We've got some building that had the cob building and it was coal.
Mm-hmm.
We had to bring in cobs and coal until they get started in the morning.
So they didn't have an oil furnace?
No.
Oh my goodness.
It was-
And that shed is on the farm.
That was-
They have it on the farm now.
Still got
Oh my
that, yeah.
goodness. Okay. Well, yeah, I can understand why that would be.
But they divide, I mean,
Work anymore.
the farmers could go where, I mean, it was Elkhorn School District. Was this in the Elkhorn School District?
It
No.
was,
No.
it was in the part of the Grudge School District, Elkhorn School District, and Millard. School
Millard,
District.
3 of them.
We were right smack in the middle of these 3. So part of them went to Gretna, part of them went to Millard, and the rest was in Elkhorn.
But the district itself, all of the square mileage went to Elkhorn School District. It was put into Elkhorn.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Was that was Mr. Bull involved in bringing in all of those one-room country schools to Elkhorn at that time? I'm thinking 55, 56. Does
Yeah.
that sound right?
Jim Dickinson and I, and who else was on the school board at that time.
Oh, Jim
But we had to
Dickinson.
make some decisions one way or another. And,
Yeah.
we thought, well,
Did
right.
Connie ever go to school there?
What?
Did Connie go to school there?
Connie went
She
to
was
three-
in, what, 4 different schools and then 3rd grade?
Yeah, she went to 3 country schools before she went to the Elkhorn school.
Okay.
Yeah.
And she started at this one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Then she went to,
J2, and then to Iron Bluffs,
and then Elkhorn.
and then Elkhorn, yeah.
Wow.
What was the second one she went?
J2.
J2.
That's on
Oh,
the county line
Yeah.
down there.
Mm-hmm.
got that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, what was I thinking to ask? So they've totally destroyed most of these except for 41? Except maybe the McGee School
District 30
is still standing?
It's been converted to a house, but it's
Yeah.
still.
And
Oh,
El-
so is
Elk
41.
City.
Is that the
Elk
Schroeders?
City is still
Orlo
standing.
and Alois, when they lived on the
You
highway.
guys like, Elk City's got
oh,
such a
Elk
big
Alois
school.
and-
Yeah, but that's-
Laura Schroeder
District 30 was over by.
built that
Sunset
over into
Speedway.
a house.
That's right. I went
Okay.
to school.
I think
Yes.
it's still there, yeah.
Yeah,
Like
that iron. Well, they
120th
just tore it
on
down.
Street,
Huh?
They
maybe
just
at-
tore it
oh,
down.
South
They may
State.
have.
Yeah, they just tore it down.
Okay.
Okay, like, this is your school here.
That's it,
Yeah. And I think we got a picture from that Charlie Fox
yeah,
that you talked about.
yeah.
He's the one who, yeah.
Yeah,
There,
that's
I've got to go
school.
let my dog out.
Well, it was good to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Good conversations.
Well, it's kinda good to reminisce some of that.
Did you
Yes.
know the guy east of you that grew popcorn?
Oh,
Lloyd,
yeah, sure.
Lloyd Surt?
Lloyd Stewart?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, he used to haul popcorn off his place.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't heard that name for a long time.
Why I remember that, I don't know.
Long time.
And Dickinson, I used to haul
Dickinson?
cattle off of Dickinson's
Oh, yeah.
place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, when you had animals butchered, did you take them to, like South Omaha?
South Omaha.
South Omaha?
Yeah, usually.
See ya.
See ya.
Or if-
Thanks.
after we got into,
Hey, you gotta take a calendar as a member.
All right.
And you take 2 because you have an ad and, yeah, yeah, Yeah.
Double dipping.
yeah, double
All right.
dipping. Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you guys have a calendar?
what?
The new calendars that are
Oh,
out.
no,
We,
haven't.
There, yeah.
No, that's,
There I go.
did you butcher your own, or did you take it in Omaha to be butchered?
no, we did it on the hogs, we butchered our own hogs and stuff, but cattle and stuff, that usually went, we went from milk cows to, we bred them to Hereford, and then back to Angus.
You get one too.
And we wound up with pretty much
That's kind of,
all Angus. I mean, we went Angus.
Another one for
So
Carol.
that was, and then Charlie one would take them, if we had something to go to the sale barn, he'd take them out and he'd often bought them.
Okay.
The sale
Yeah.
barn. But,
Yeah.
that's-
The calves, did you take them to Fremont to sell the bull calves?
yeah, Well, yeah,
When you had the milk cows.
yeah.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
bull calves
calf?
would,
The bull calves.
Yeah, well, that's where Dennis and,
Connie and Gary.
yeah, kind of Gary.
But what did you do growing up with your bull calves,
Oh,
with your herd?
oh, I think we probably sold them off, yeah.
Yeah, because you just keep the heifers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Oh,
that's basically it.
sell their hogs at Omaha stockyards. That was always a big deal, was to go into
Yeah.
the stockyards.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, if hog prices were over 50 cents, we got a shake, and if it was under 50 cents, we got an ice cream cone. So literally, we would watch the market and say, Dad, if they knew it was over, we'd stop at the Dairy Queen. Goodrich.
Well, you can probably remember on Sunday night you didn't want to be on Center Street either.
no, that's.
All these trucks coming
Yeah.
out of Wahoo
Yeah,
and West.
yeah,
And,
yeah, yeah.
oh my gosh, I remember that.
Well, there'd be a big lineup too going in there and down, and yeah, that was quite a.
Yeah.
That was quite a deal. If you ever had to walk all them deals, you know, just up that was a big place there. There's a lot of stock.
Mankey and Brandon, I tried.
Somebody got a phone call. Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah. This
Well-
is one of our best-selling calendars. was this one, but yeah, some of these houses, like all of these houses, are still all in. They're all
Livable.
going
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and been restored.
Oh yeah.
And then we got the dates from them
yeah.
when they were built. You're able, as long as you
yeah.
got an address, you can go back and you can find out not who built it, but when it was built.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which
the
is
house
really
that,
cool.
The home place, the house, that was still there. Well, when did we? They've redone it. It's been remodeled.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you
your
wouldn't
home place.
recognize it anymore, but it's
Yeah.
it was still there.
So do you know when it was built? The house Joni grew up in, and
Oh, that's old because that picture that we had of it, that was
Yeah.
when Dad moved there.
That was in
picture.
26, so you know it
Oh,
was,
the barn one, yeah.
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 it was probably in the 1910 to 1920
At least,
era.
yeah. 'Cause, see, one half of that house is built with cottonwood lumber,
Oh, okay.
and the other. They tell me that the kitchen part, that log part, that was up at the end of the pasture, and they moved it back down there, and then they built
Isn't that
cottonwood. The rest of the house there was cottonwood rough lumber,
Mm-hmm.
and then as we remodeled and stuff, we.
You ran into some interesting
And
things.
mostly square nails, so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we got some of these,
Yeah.
square nails here. But I'd like to get a picture of you by that gravity cream separator.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely want him to see
and the
that.
stanchion.
Okay, there's a stanchion there, but yeah, they're naming that school, like we said, down by you.
Yeah, yeah.
They're gonna call that Iron Bluffs, which
Well,
is really
that's
cool.
good as anything, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But this other school, like your school was called Spring Grove.
That was Spring Grove, yeah.
Yeah, and this other one,
That cemetery that's up above there by the corner, that's
Yeah.
Spring Grove Cemetery too. That used to be the church there, a Methodist church there.
you mean, did they once call that Spring Grove too?
Yeah, that was.
Britain
Spring-
Cemetery?
I think that was.
Because I remember when the church was still there,
Yeah,
and we would peek inside.
yeah.
But yeah, like
I think that was Spring Grove Cemetery
I think
or something.
I read that in the DuckDuckGo.
DuckDuckGo. I find that yeah. But yeah, and Phyllis McAvoy
Yeah,
she was there, and she had a brother named Kenny.
yeah. Yeah, those I know all those people.
Which we don't have like Phyllis McAvoy. I think
Is
that's
that the picture,
Yeah,
Dad?
that's Phyllis. Yeah.
and this is
You got the
Phyllis.
names?
We don't have the names.
My sister Norma should be on that one.
Is
She was
really?
the place there.
Yeah, because I know Margie Dosey.
Is
We've
that the
got-
same picture?
Yep, but it sure is.
District 12.
It's the same
Yes.
picture.
We have names.
On the back of that.
No, here.
Dad
Oh,
wrote
oh.
it. We
Oh.
went through these and we were trying to figure them out.
So we need a picture of that
We
paper.
can have the paper, we don't, I mean,
Okay.
but it was Beulah Warren was the teacher.
Sure.
He said Phyllis McAvoy, Kenny McAvoy,
Yeah.
Eunice Dozy, I don't know,
Dosey, yeah.
Charlie Fox,
Mm-hmm.
Ralph Dozy,
Margaret does.
it should be Margaret Doze,
Margie, yeah, we called her.
Evelyn Pinky, or Pinky,
Yeah.
Pinky, yeah.
Lloyd, Velva Saunders,
And Nola Saunders, yeah.
Nola Saunders, Vern Wilms,
Helen Melcher, yeah.
Melcher, Margie Wilms, and probably Norma Rohwer.
Okay.
Should be one of the little girls in front.
Okay. Okay, I want to ask you about that Wilms name. Now, that is not the same Wilms as Scoop McCardle's.
Yeah, Betty,
It was Betty.
yeah,
Their farm was down near where you were?
yeah, they were right south of us,
I knew it was.
right
What?
south of us, yeah.
Because Sharon Gilson's telling me always that it's on
Yeah, that's okay. I'll
168th
just
and
put it on
Pacific. And I said, no, my dad tells me, because Dad was close
Well,
in that age.
They did move from there to a place over on
Okay.
Pacific,
Okay,
yeah.
Okay, but when my dad, so then that, yeah,
Yeah, they were, they moved from there over there.
okay.
That's,
So we're both right.
Yeah, we're actually both right.
Yeah, yeah, because
I feel better about
Yeah.
it.
yeah, I feel
So that-
bad because
This was taken. at
this
Dad's
was
school.
something that somebody had
That's
told
cool.
me, and
Yeah.
I don't make
Yeah.
stuff up,
Yeah.
and sometimes
No, that.
There we go.
I knew.
Okay.
May of 40.
Yeah,
Got it.
that's one that,
And
the Wilmses.
Wilms,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, what was her
forgot some
name?
pictures at home, too.
But anyway,
Betty McCardle's, yeah,
yeah,
and that was her brother, like Orville and them.
yeah, Marvel, Vernon.
Okay, yes,
I just had to bring this to show.
What else? There's another boy in there someplace.
Sharing that.
yeah. I was gonna get and look and see if you knew if everybody in your class is still going. I mean, upright.
Alive?
Well, yeah.
Well, here's his class picture.
Well, I mean, I have the book.
She's got her. Oh,
That's
they're still alive?
Well, I was gonna see
All
who.
of them?
No, he just had his class reunion.
Well, next year you'll have what?
Here's the class.
Yeah, and I was gonna see, because I'd like it in the book here, correct? 1946, Bill Holling was in your grade.